state agent sent to contain the people's expectation in the midst of a crisis. In this regard, going to a referendum ain't an issue. A constitution is a living document. In so saying, I'm very cognizant of the need to readjust the constitutional provisions to align with the current political, economic, and social situation in the country. By adding further, it is not making sense, or the question I would ask, is it really necessary to go for a referendum now to create more political offices? Look at the provisions of the Constitution 2010. The COK Constitution 2010 is already a burden to the taxpayers. Kenya has one of the most paid members of parliament in the world. Kenya has one of the hugest executive in the world. Look at the current President Ruto's cabinet. Go to the economic advisors. Look at the chauffeurs they are using. One person having 5 cars. These are fuel guzzlers. They use these vehicles on a daily basis. You saw when they were planting trees, Murkomen traveled all the way from Nairobi on a chartered plane to Homa Bay to plant one tree and fly back to Mombasa and back to Nairobi. Had that money been put aside and given to the county commissioners to coordinate with the chiefs and the jobless youths to plant and take care of these trees, do you want to tell me that Murkomen was going to fly on a daily basis to Homa Bay to water his one tree? That is PR stunts. So, by looking at the current economic situation, it is not the right time to go for a referendum. And if going for a referendum is an urgent need, then it should not be to create positions. In fact, in my own opinion, if we were to do a referendum today, it should be done to reduce the bloat of the executive, to reduce the number of representation. Imagine a country where we have a president, a deputy president, a governor, 47 of them, each one with a deputy, a senator, with a fully funded office. All these people, we have ministers with their assistants, because this government, I said, do not respect the courts. Those people still continue calling themselves chief administrative secretaries, besides the court declaration on the invalidity of those titles and offices. So we have permanent secretaries. We have MCS. How many are there? Are they over 2,000? So all these people are depending on us and already economically burdened citizens to finance them. Then you create an illegal office like the one for Musalia Mudavadi. I would not shy off calling the office of Musalia as illegal, besides being his political student. It doesn't mean that when I support you or in agreement with you, then I agree even with the legalities and the legalities you intend to perpetuate in my eyes. No, that position is not relevant. It is irrelevant, by the way. Musalia can serve better as a CS Foreign Affairs. It is allowed. Why must he be the head of Prime Cabinet Secretaries? We want to solve political egos by creating positions. You have Mwaura speaking for government, Hussein Mohammed speaking for State House. The one is reporting from Radisson Blu, the other one is reporting from State House. What a nonsense. And then you're telling us we create more positions. We have Kimani Ichung'wah, who is the majority leader in the parliament. We have Opiyo Wandayi, who is the minority leader. You want to bring Raila Amolo Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka, former vice president, prime minister emeritus, to be the opposition leader with 2 deputies. What are they deputizing? What are they representing? Are we short of representation? We are overrepresented. Even China, one of the largest economies in the world today, do not enjoy the representation we have in Kenya. Our MPs are behaving like angels. They are being paid well. Theirs is to go in parliament, speak nonsense, shout at the top of their voice, and the people are suffering. I want to warn these people that the sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya. Do not misuse the peace, the love, and the calmness Kenyans have expressed towards them. It is only imperative that they are going to be considerate enough to take into consideration the plight of the people of Kenya. The conversation now henceforth, and that's why we said as Linda Jamii, we are going to focus on the conversation of economic resuscitation, where policies must be reanalyzed, restructured to align with a feasible economic model in the country. Because what is ailing us as a nation, or African countries in majority, we aligned ourselves towards the colonial economic models. The architecture of current world economic models is not in favor of African economies or redeveloping or developing economies. Because the countries that provide us what we call aid, you know, let me tell you something, and I will use this proverb as a laker, one who comes from the lake. It's more conversant with me. You give fish to a man, you feed him for a day. You show a man how to fish, you feed him for the rest of his life. The government here, and I would explain further, that if I'm given fish, I may grow laziness to an extent that I can't look for any alternative and wait for the fish to be brought to me. So in as much as the foreign, there are several reports that if you can read from the Global Financial Integrity, I mean the Catholic, it's called CAFOD and blah, blah. All these point at a situation where the world economic giants have structured our economy to depend on foreign aid. What they bring in form of loans, the interest are so much. China is also here with the Belt and Road Initiative, the BRI, and all these sorts combined together. So our economy should be the conversation. The conversation should not be the government to go and declare that the cost of fuel is going down. Yet the government is acting like a subservient arm of the IMF and the World Bank. No, we must first dissociate, and that's why I said it was our wish that we elected a very wise president who was going to get the difference between working together but independently with both the IMF and the World Bank. Selling off KICC, selling off KPC, selling off all these parastatals. And the most important one is KICC. I am very pretty sure that even the president, for the first time he came to Nairobi, he could not locate where he was. He used the KICC towers to locate his direction. Does it make sense to sell KICC? And if someone comes in and says, well, I bought KICC, now I'm going to restructure it and remove the towers. Where will we go? People like us, we come to the city for the first time, we use these towers as a center. Next time you will hear the president saying, we can go and hire some hotel somewhere, we can lease out our parliament. No, the president must act with restraint. This is a PhD holder. This is not a primary school dropout behaving like, some of the MPs we have. I really have high regards for the president. But what he does, the moment he took power, he said, and I can quote, nikiweka tu Biblia chini hivi, I'm assuming that the Bible is still in the president's hands invisibly. No one can tell. Hajaweka Biblia chini. Because aliingia pale, bei ya mafuta ndio hiyo, shwa, bei ya unga huko juu. Alafu alisema, the moment naweka tu Biblia chini, cartels watajua wajui. Before you cut me short, Simba, on the cartels watajua wajui, there has been controversy over the importation of 17 billion crude oil and blah, blah. You know, to get a duty-free importation, this is done by the Treasury on advice from the Ministry of Agriculture. Now, the current question of irregularity exposes the dishonesty, the corruption in the government sector, where a parastatal vehicle can be used to ferry goods that are imported by a government official through the proxies and brought to the market only for the retailers to reject it on the basis of standards. It is substandard. So are we really building our economy by importing substandard items? Yet there is a lot of land here. If we were to something to go by, if former President Uhuru Kenyatta, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, Dr. William Ruto, the current president, and all these politicians were to be asked to donate 10 acres of their land to produce crops in Kenya, I'm telling you, we are going to have surplus.
That's
Land is here.
Yes, yes.
Why are you importing substandard stuffs and we have the ability? Castro here can dig from morning to evening. I have seen him on the farm. Personally, I can fish from morning to evening. You bring us imported fish from China. You want us to import maize from Congo. Countries that are suffering that we are better off. I mean, no. We have to reanalyze our policies.
Gentlemen, I want us to move in the next part of our discussion this morning then.